The Psychology of Needs versus Wants, and The Great Switcheroo. We can often learn a lot from the most unlikely sources, like the screaming brat in the supermarket. Can you remember when you last heard a kid screeching something like, "Wah! I need that"? Well, probably not at all, actually. What they really were screaming was, "Wah! I want that!" Which just goes to prove that a want is much more powerful than a need. Yet, incredibly, lots of copywriting and sales courses go banging on about meeting people's needs, and this is particularly true when they're discussing B2B copywriting. Identify their needs, relate your benefits to those needs, and so on. But there's a fundamental problem with that approach. If you only sell to someone's needs, they will always buy the lowest cost solution that meets those needs. I think you better pin that on the wall. Let me illustrate what we've just been saying with a true story. Many years ago, when I was a young man, money was tight, and I was forever having to balance expenditure against more than one competing item. And I can remember there was a time when I had a very real need. Our roof had started to spring a leak, and damp was beginning to spread down one of the walls. There was a clear and present need: get the roof fixed. But at the same time, I lusted after an expensive hi-fi system. Remember those? I could afford just one or the other. The roof was a very real need. I bought the hi-fi. Now, this has real resonance for copywriting, particularly sales copywriting. You see, whether it's outbound marketing, direct mail, email shots, adverts and so on, or inbound marketing, your website, however powerful your copy, there's one fundamental weakness: inertia. People read your copy and think, yeah, that's exactly what I need. I really must get round to doing something about it. And they file it away for later, or it sits in their email in tray until the next clear out. Now, why do people behave like that? Well, they're busy. They've other pressing things competing for their time right now. Another major inhibitor is the fact that people will do anything to put off having to speak to a salesperson. So we need to apply the great switcheroo. Switch from selling needs and start selling wants. I'm going to give you a real-life example right now, and we'll return to it in much more detail later on in the course when we look at white papers. A few years ago, the European Union announced major changes to the way it dealt with cross-border VAT accounting. And for many large corporations, it meant changing their whole accounting software, which typically cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The need was very real, and it was urgent for any company trading inside the EU. But my client recognized the threat of inertia. So having described the needs, we quickly switched to something our prospects would want: a white paper that explained clearly everything they needed to know. Yes, we used all the emotional tricks from our previous lesson. We describe all 374 changes that will affect the way you conduct your business. God, how many? Fear. Use it as a management discussion document with your colleagues. Hey, I could become a leader. Use it to develop your request for tender document when selecting new accounting systems. They'll do all the work for me. Laziness. And it was also non-threatening. Did people want it? 1,700 chief financial officers, main board directors, out of the UK's 5,000 largest corporations requested a copy. They wanted it. Later on, I'll show you how we structured the campaign and similar campaigns, including the actual copy that we used. But for now, though, I need you to focus on this one lesson. No, I don't need that at all. I want you to.